We bought this house £40,000 cheaper than the asking price. It was the worst house in the nicest area, something which I always look out for. In this series, I'm going to be showing you how you can save thousands of pounds renovating property yourself. So make sure you've liked the video and subscribe to this channel. Since owning it, we've uncovered a lot of issues. In the last episode, I chopped down the trees by myself, which roughly saved us around £4,000 so far. But today, I need to get rid of the waste, and I'm going to do it in a very eco-friendly and stylish way. I plan to save the wood and reuse it for furniture later on in the project. And if it's not too much of a favour to ask, please share this video and channel with your friends, as it does help the algorithm. Just look at that. This is a double length garage. You'll get two cars end to end in the back of here, but it's single width. Now that's nearly taken half of it. It's stacked 3/4 of the way up, and it is just mental how much wood has come out of that. Just think of those bags you buy from the supermarket where you literally pay £7 and you get about 10 logs in them. I'd hate to think how many's there, which has got me thinking, when they're dry, do I start selling them? Maybe I could claw a bit of money back, which I spent on the chainsaw and the chains. Completely gone. Just prepping for the tree surgeon to come and get rid of the stumps tomorrow, but look at the size of these. Look at the size of that. That doesn't even do it justice, but there's my hand. And then we're going to slab that one. That one needs chopping. This one's even worse. Ran out of blades trying to get rid of this. Lovely, lovely pattern in there, which would look nice cutting in some discs. That one needs to go. And that one as well. Just going to sweep up. This will be all ready for the tree stump remover guy to come tomorrow to get rid of that one, and that one. That one that's rotten over there, we're just going to leave. Then Jay turned up with his very expensive machine. The price I'd received previously from the tree surgeons to cut the trees down didn't include the removal of the stumps, so it would have been a lot more expensive. But don't worry, I'll run through how much it's cost me at the end of this video. There was a massive tree stump there, obviously that's now gone. This one's been ground out, but he's had to leave the roots in just because we couldn't get too close to the wall without knackering his machine. But hopefully that'll rot and we should be able to break it off. The cherry one's gone. I've been logging. That needs slabbing, and then that needs slabbing also. I've took the first cut, and this one's chopping into discs. That one's slabbing, and then I'm basically going to use all of that to just decorate the house. I'm thinking headboards, dining table. Tree surgeon's been and blended all that up, so obviously the garden's now free of all the rubbish, and we are ready to start scraping the ground back and getting the footings put in once the planning's been agreed. It feels absolutely massive, this now. Look at that. Just let so much more sunlight down onto the pavement. It's just madness, really. This garden is just shy of 30 metres end to end, so there's a lot of potential and a lot of space to utilise. This here is cut nice and flat, and I've done that by hand. It'll take about 2 years to dry out, and I'm going to make the dining table out of them. And then for this trunk, look at the colours in this. The colours in that, as you take it up, you probably see it better this side actually. Look at the dark colours in that. So we're going to straighten that up, cut it into 50mm slabs, nice bedside tabletops or coffee tables. And then this one's got a bit more character, where it's quite flat. Lovely colours, but I like the way it shoots off. So if we slab that one up, we can make some epoxy tables out of that. Maybe a desk, maybe a countertop for the future kitchen island. But this has taken 5 days so far to get this down. I've gone through 10 chainsaw blades, 5 bottles of chainsaw oil, and about 20 litres of fuel and 1 bottle of 2-stroke mix. And I was about to go through a hell of a lot more. I needed to cut the tree stump down into discs, and to make life easier, I made a purchase from Amazon. A job I've been putting off for a while. I've bought this, which is a jig to make it a lot easier, so just cutting these down and making them nice and thick and the same all the way through. Because This will make a lovely coffee table top, and it's got some nice sort of fungus pattern inside it, which will look mint when it's dried out, sanded and oiled. That'll look fantastic. And this we're going to cut into slabs to either make the dining table out of, like an epoxy table, or some headboards. So we'll assemble the jig and then we'll try and get some nice discs cut out of this. I'm aiming for around 50 to 75 mil thick. Right, I don't actually know how easy this is going to be to assemble. Don't want any dirt going anywhere. I think it was about 60 quid on Amazon. It actually looks quite good quality. Aluminium, another part. God knows what that is. Gonna be a while this. No more fixings. Ah, right.
Part of me wanted me to take the typical man approach, ditch the instructions and tell yourself how hard can it be. But with this thing being attached to a potential limb remover, I wanted to make sure I did it right.
We've got the main bit together. These other pieces are if you've got a longer blade in the chainsaw. There we go. Done. This feels like one sturdy piece of kit. I tell you what, for 50 odd quid, whatever it was, it feels strong. So now I've got to get the saw in there. It has took me around 35 minutes to set this up, and then we're going to try and whiz it through and see if it works. It's not going to work. I need a longer chainsaw. It's just took me ages to get it in the jig, but if you look what's going on, because of the blade guard and these bits down here, there's not enough blade to pass the width of the trunk through. So basically I need a chainsaw that basically ranges from about there with a blade to come to there. So looking at this now, I've got a 20-inch blade on that. I need a 28-inch. I really am in two minds now. I don't know whether to buy another chainsaw that's got a bigger blade on it or just freehand it. Problem is, it's the wood. It's not necessarily the cost of the chainsaw, it's the wood. It's about saving this wood so I can use it in the house. And I don't think I can do it. That is so frustrating. All that time and effort to get that into there.
With a new chainsaw out of the window, I remembered the point of this channel, and that was to show you how to save money, so I opted to do it freehand. The chainsaw I'd need costs around £1,000, and God knows how many chains I'd have to buy. As much as I'm a perfectionist, I think I'll have to live with the odd wavy cut, so I told myself it would look more rustic. As I started to cut the discs, the finish on the wood surprised me. I didn't expect it to be so rich in colour. However, the more I cut, we started to incur another problem.
So we're starting to get a bit of rot in the tree here. Obviously you can see where the fungus has got in through the middle of the trunk, starting to die a bit here. I'm hoping it stays more central, because if that dries out, if we put a bit of black epoxy in when it's dry, it'll look quite nice. So I'm going to carry on disking these, and then we'll have to put them in the garage to dry so they're spaced out, and then in about 2 years time might be able to make something out of them. Beech, by the way, is one of the hardest woods, so it's not easy cutting these into discs.
I decided to carry on and see what we were left with. Once they were done, I moved them into the garage and stacked them up to dry out over time. It's estimated that these could take up to 2 years to dry.
The reason I've done that and spaced them out is to allow the air to get between them. I could do with some bigger bits of wood, to be honest, but that's all I can find, and I don't want to go buying stuff because it's just dead money. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tabletops there, or we could use them for decorative features in the house. The only thing I hope that as these dry slowly, I hope it doesn't split across there. There is a good chance it is going to, and then worst cases we can always cut a bow tie in and put something there, but these are going to sit here now for roughly 2 years, and we'll see what they end up looking like.
Then it was time to tackle the huge trunk. I started by standing it up on end, and I used some wedges I made from the logs I split to stop it falling over. Now, to cut this straight and at the same thickness all the way through, it's going to be difficult, especially since the jig and saw is too small. So to try and make things easier, I'm going to put some screws and a chalk line in to mark the trunk. I'll then remove the screws and begin to cut down the blue line, trying my best to keep the saw straight. In my head, I thought this would take around 5 minutes to cut one slab. It actually took 35 minutes and I started to feel sorry for the neighbours, so I cut the rest of them over a couple of days. After a heavy battle and convinced they had vibration white finger, we ended up with this.
Look at that. Yes. Bit scabby with there veered off, but I can take that off with the saw to make it look neater. Ready? Oh my god. Yes. A little bit of scar in there with the saw, but my god.
Believe it or not, I actually went through around 15 litres of fuel and 12 extra chain blades, but the results were worth it. I also wrapped them in a tarpaulin to stop the sun drying them out too quick to prevent them from cracking. But who was I kidding? Sun in Manchester.
That's taken best part of about 3 hours to cut all those there. 3 slabs, 50mm thick, 50mm thick, 75mm thick. The best one is probably that, and the middle one I absolutely cocked up. If I just spin it, you can see I wafer thinned it there on both sides, so that one's probably going to go in the bin. Well, not in the bin, I'll probably have to chop it short and do some shelves of it. And then we have this bit of the trunk left, which still weighs a ton, very thin at the end, so I'm probably going to chop it down and make the bigger bit into shelves. Then we've got to do that one, and then that one. Knackered. There we go. Just got one more to cut around the front, but yeah, they're a bit wavy, but we'll be able to sand them and do something with them. Like I say, I've not got the proper tools to do it, but 50mm and 75mm between that, and we'll leave them here for 2 years to dry out, cover them up, come back in 2 years, and hopefully there'll be some furniture in the house made out of them.
So how much did it all cost? Well, in the last episode we was quoted £4,300 to cut the trees down, split them into logs, and not do the slabbing and the discs like we've done. That didn't include Jay coming to get rid of the tree stumps. If it did, we would have been looking at nearly £5,000 to do it all through the tree surgeon. Instead, I've chopped the trees, I've then got Jay to come and do the tree stumps, and then I also called in Sam, a tree surgeon, to come and shred all of the branches and the brambles and everything else that went with it, because I worked it out. I would have had to get 4 skips at £300 each, and Sam only charged me £400 to shred everything and cut a load of the other trees down at the back of the house, which has obviously saved me a lot of time, and I don't think I could have done it for that price, so I'll let Sam get on with that. Jay charged me £350 for the stumps, which I don't think was too bad, so we spent £750 there. I then spent £180 in chains. We then spent £21 on fuel. We then bought a splitting maul to break them into logs, which was £20 on Amazon, and then I also purchased a petrol leaf blower for £69, and that was just simply to get rid of all the sawdust because it was everywhere, all over the pavements, and I didn't want it blocking the drains, and it's going to come in handy for when we start doing the renovation works. So the total spend of this episode was £1,040, but if we include what we spent in the last episode, the costs associated with cutting the trees down, we spent £430. So that brings the total spending to remove all the trees, split all the logs, cut things into discs, cut them into slabs, salvage all the wood. It brings it in at £1,470 to do it myself. The cost to get the trees cut down originally was £4,300. Let's add the stumps to that. That takes us to £4,650, and if we deduct my cost from that, which is £1,470, it works out that we have saved £3,180, and we've also gained some tools. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether it was worth doing it myself or I should have just paid someone, or was it worth saving the £3,000 to let the beech tree wood live on as potential furniture when we finish this house. Give us a like, give us a follow, don't forget to drop us a comment below, and I'll see you all in the next one where we need to tackle the task of building a fence, because now Sam's shredded all the trees, the dog can escape. So that's going to be tackled next episode. Subscribe.